I try to survive 150 days against millions of undead by building a fortified city the world has never before seen. Will I survive the sieges and expand? Let's find out. And we've officially landed on the coast. The undead will be here in 7 days, and they already have horrible spawning masses of death near the coast. The very first step, huge amounts of lumber mills to get all the wood. Once all the wood starts flowing, we'll be good to go. We will slowly start pushing down here and grab as many berry bushes as we can. The enemy are horrifying, the enemy are dead. We have crossbowmen, 4, we have spearmen, 4, and we have a single catapult. 3 houses are being put down to get more people. We get people at the beginning of every day. Right now we have access to 5 tomorrow. Each house will give me maybe 1 or 2 extra per day, with another 5 space. But we are pushing, crushing, killing. Or I accidentally upset the entire horde and suddenly I'm fighting for my life. We definitely need more crossbowmen and spearmen and swordsmen, but they will come in numbers unfathomable. When we say they are billions, that will be the truth. Basic research is also ongoing. We need building to be faster, we need people to be faster, some actual walls on the field, and this barracks is the start of all of that. We just need more infantry, a lot more infantry. With a load of berry pickers on the field, and we have a few swordsmen and a few archers, we're going to keep pushing down here to the coast. I want the coast to be in my name as soon as possible. Well, there's a random thing over there, but we're clearing, we're killing, and we're hopefully destroying everything we possibly can. And just like that, we've pushed over to the ocean, where we found an iron ore field. That's unlimited iron, if we can hold it. So we're going to try and push and build up around this area too. We need everywhere safe. With that being said, we're going to have a couple of storages, we're going to have a builder's hut, we're going to have a stone mine, get the iron mine up and running. This area here will be one of our food gathering areas for now till we run out, and also probably one of our main storages for resources. As we push further out into the south, we're starting to clear most of the enemies. We're getting a defensive wall around our little fishing village. It won't be fishing for long, but it is for now. And we're going to keep on building and expanding an actual castle. My forces go out clearing more and more things. I'm beginning to start actually designing what the castle should be. Over here will be our military district. This will obviously be our iron forging district, probably with some houses and so on it as well. So everywhere will actually have huge amounts of resources and we won't lose everything if something happens. But we still need front lines, we still need defences, which we don't really have. Okay, the first enemy attack is coming from the north. I've literally just started building a wall in the north, so that's good. We have a few interesting choke points we will be using. While we're waiting for the enemy to attack, I also need 100 stone. 100 stone allows me to upgrade to the next tier, to get more research, to get better buildings. We need better troops and we need access to iron, and that requires tier 2. Well, the enemy is finally on their way for the first wave, but considering how far up they are, it may take a couple of days. So I'm going to get a few more troops on the field, I think. The upgrade is finally happening. We're getting to the tier 2. Yes, my little castle is getting bigger. Oh, the beginning of the actual wave has finally arrived. The first few Drakes of Doom are here, and my archers are devastating them. Oh, the enemy have finally made it to my line. They definitely got stuck on something, but here they come. So we're killing those. The town hall is now bigger and castlier, and the first of my barracks are now being upgraded to the next tier to give me access to crossbowmen, spearmen, healers, and axe warriors. Our troops will be on the field, and we'll even get some cavalry down at some point. But here we go, the actual main wave is here, and they're being killed quite successfully. The first wave will be easy. Everything after that will be significantly harder. We are prepared, and our infantry will be on the field all the time. We will always meet them with steel. With the new tier, we can now start upgrading buildings, obviously so we can start saving on space. We don't really need to at this point, but we can. And we're also going to get a stables and engineers guild down so we can get some siege weapons. It's time to fully prepare for war. The most important upgrades I'll find will be getting the iron mines to tier 2 and the stone mines to tier 3. Tier 1 would get you 160. Tier 2 would get you 2 for each piece. And tier 3 would get you 3 for each piece. So just a tier 2 here would be 320 stone. So we need to upgrade all of our mines before we run out of those resources. The absolute biggest thing I can now build are farms. Farmlands do certain amounts of food but take up massive amounts of space because the actual farm fields themselves. But now that I have farms, I have unlimited food with the space I have. With the army of thousands thing being prepared, I could literally just build directly on the trees and destroy them. But we're going to do a slash and burn technique to get all the wood first. An enemy force is now on its way from the northwest corner. I don't know if they're going to come this way or this way, but I have my force here prepared for them. 42 brave soldiers will meet them on the field of battle. And also, because I couldn't keep waiting for this area to be cleared, I've built a temporarily permanent farm up here. It looks like this attack is heading towards this wall, so the archers have been sent to there, and my infantry are holding this corner. But I think most of the attacks will hit here, so we're going to build a massive undead kill zone. And here come the enemy. They are attacking this wall here, so our troops should be able to hold them off. Although the fact that this is the first wave, and there seems to be more further up, the numbers are getting bigger already. Enemy forces are still sort of sneaking out the tree line. We now have access to dreadful ghouls. New varieties of hopping buggers are here. We also need to upgrade our walls a bit better, I think. But either way, we're meeting them on the field, and they should all die. And also, our archers don't have the range, so we may have to replace them with more crossbowmen. So the archers may be sent out on a minor... Oh my god, look how many there are. On a mission. Look how many things there are now. The swordsmen are still holding out quite well, which is ironic considering how weak they are, but we are about to lose some swordsmen. Now they will start turning into undead after a bit of time, unless I bury the bodies, because as you know, burying people means they never get up again. No one likes getting up after a nap. Yeah, a few soldiers have died, we're just going to let them rot, and when they get up, shoot them again. That's fine. I also need to figure out what to do with the archers. The archers fire faster than crossbowmen, but have a much shorter range, as you can see by the marker. So I need to figure out what to do with them. Maybe there'll be a front line of archers, then crossbowmen. My forces, pushing out along the flanks near the ocean, have found unlimited stone. So we need to start building up here when we get to tier 3 to get the unlimited stone up and running. We have a huge amount of spearmen, some crossbowmen, and 2 mascot swordsmen. Oh, my spearmen pushing out into the southeast have just found another type of enemy. The Shepherd of Horrors. Don't they look fun? With 180 health. Don't do much damage, but I can imagine a wave of them being a seriously bad problem. Oh, I've just heard the sounds of my people getting back up after a little nap. Luckily, we put them back down another time. A load of temporarily permanent buildings are being built down here. We've got a lot of lumber mills and a few storages to sort them out. We're going to clear this area out. And rather than farms, it's going to be the housing district. The farming district is going to be put outside the wall over here, I think, because houses are super important. And also, the enemy's attacking from this way. And to deal with the attack, we now have access to siege weapons. And yes, it's only catapults for now, but ballistas, Birdam chimeras and trebuchets will be joining the field after this gets to level 3. We just need money and lots of stone for that. Luckily, the marketplace will be up and running, where we're going to start selling all the huge amounts of wood we have. Although, I'll be honest, 400 wood for 10 gold, that's not much of a fortune, but we're taking it anyway. Yeah, the goblins do love taking all of our money and resources, don't they? They hit this wall along here, then work their way down. Now, they are being destroyed by all of my crossbowmen, which is good. And the spearmen will hold the line. It looks like it's just huge amounts of Drakes of Doom, which is easy enough to kill. However, with the line of attack found from over here, we can move our defences to this point. We're going to scout out a good assault position and prepare to attack. Whoa! The enemy just used a catapult on me. What is that? Machino flesh! The enemy is using catapults on my troops. We're going to have to rush it. So that was a thing. The enemy has catapults, apparently. Didn't know they... Oh my god, didn't know they had them at all. It's got arms. It's got a head. Ew. It's not doing much damage because I'm heavily armoured. But, you know, they can now bring down our walls. So we're killing that off. Whoa! My troops pushed out and just found this thing. The Magister of Necromancer. It's got so many arms and it's reading books. So there's evil afoot in the field. The city is still growing, significantly more houses, and the farmland just outside is finally being built. The great city is getting there. We have more troops and an enemy attack in the northeast. Our army is prepared and our people are getting there. And as the attack wave slowly comes in, we upgrade our town hall to level 3. It's time to get the super castle. And my army out here is prepared for war. The enemy wave has finally started turning up, and it's quite far away from where that marker is. So I think there's some artillery at the rear. Either way, we have spearmen, we have lots of healers, and we have crossbowmen. It's quite an easy kill so far. I've wiped out a couple of hundred of them. The enemy keeps rushing in. My troops are now on hold the line, so they will move out of position but then go back in. I did that mainly because I wanted a nice wall of spears, and the enemy was pulling them out of position. Oh! And the Magister of Necromancy is now officially in the field. So these things we just saw are now officially here. We're going to kill them. because apparently these guys will resurrect my guys to fight for their guys, which I'm not really happy about. Now luckily I have enough troops that we shouldn't lose anyone. Yep, there's definitely catapults back here, but we are having a few minor issues with the sheer number of troops they are sending my way. This is only a few waves in, remember. It's going to get worse. And while my troops are fighting and one spearman has sadly died, we are now at level 3. We're going to upgrade this to get some hammer guys and foot knights on the field. The foot knights will take the hit. Oh, many people have now died. We've lost 6 or 7 soldiers. This is because of the shepherds. The shepherds are really powerful. The catapults just mostly annoy me. Oh, 12 people! The catapults are really powerful. We just lost 6 guys in one go. I was about to insult them. I've changed my mind. With nearly all of my mines being upgraded to level 3, or 2 of their iron, and some of the walls being added with extra iron, we're getting ready for next stages of war. I'm just going to fill this area in with houses, start putting in farmland over here, and I think we're ready for whatever the enemy can throw at us. In the farmlands I'm building, we found another iron ore field. I might use it, I might not, but it's another option for even more iron to flow in. We have 3 of those, and 1 stone. So we have plenty of iron to make the spearmen never stop marching. Another attack is happening from the north, and the dead spearmen are getting back up, because I don't recognise that guy, and he is heading towards me. Yep, they're definitely my men coming back to say hello. Luckily, my cavalry, which is 17 horse archers, is giving them the 17 arrow salute. The enemy attack is on its way, and this one's actually moving quite fast. This might actually be our very first undead cavalry charge. I'm going to temporarily permanently build a university just here. We will eventually move it because it's in the military district. I'm also hearing cavalry noises from over here. Listen carefully, you can hear them. And here they come. It's just literally undead horses. Not cavalry, just literal horses. Now the troops will not move out of position, so we should be good to kill all of them. In fact, looking at these numbers, the cavalry appears to be doing the most damage by single unit so far, outside of the shepherds, but they just didn't have the numbers to slow me down. With the university up, I can get my food down, free dinners, but obviously I want to go and get free dinners. 20% less food in areas. This means these taverns will make all of my houses use a lot less food. Now, I need to make some more areas for the houses and the taverns, but see this? This covers most of it. Now, I did lie earlier. The most important research from university is this, the eternal stone and the eternal iron. So we're going to get the eternal stone source once we get 500 wood and start building eternal stone and eternal iron. We need all the resources to sell, to build, to buy. 2 more attacks are coming on the wave 6 on day 40. But we also have locals. It appears to me that the enemy is just pouring in. It might have something to do with the trebuchets I now have in all these towers. So we're going to talk about the towers very quickly. So this one here, which is a 2-person, from this does 65, whereas the basic one for this only does 50. But of course, these are significantly weaker on the health and armour. So I'm going to be putting guard towers at certain key areas because they have greater range, while anything stone will be on the front line. And they also have these little nodules to pour out boiling oil. We're going to burn the enemy as they touch us. Interesting. So the forces that come from the right-hand side, the reason they're hitting up here is because they're literally heading towards this rock and then splitting either way. But the forces you can see are going both ways. That's actually very interesting. Now, we should still be holding them because I have a lot of troops here anyway, and catapults, and now there's trebuchets everywhere. But we are holding steady. I'll be honest, you don't get too many from here. It looks like mostly the stragglers which get cut off. The main force is still coming this way and hitting my cavalry. Now, over here, we're still doing good. We are actually going to have all of my trebuchets do the aim for the greatest target, because that will probably bring down catapults and so on. But there we are. My infantry are holding steady, my cavalry are doing great, and my walls are unbreachable. One issue we are going to have, it looks like we're having it already, is our weapon systems, which are catapults and so on. If they hit walls and things, they just bounce off, hitting this section here and then disappearing. Same thing over this side. All my troops are dying. So I need to figure out where my troops are and if they're in the right position for my forces. And right now the answer is probably not. They're just where I need them to be for now. Now, look at troops which can deal with all these forces. I have just noticed that they target the strongest, and that is the Magister of Necromancy and not the catapult. So these guys are the toughest thing. So their siege machines, as you saw, do a lot more damage than they should because they're left alive for far too long. And there's nothing we can do about it just yet till everything else is dead. Maybe we are going to have to get some cavalry. A minor issue has happened. I put a catapult in this tower here. It opened fire in this area here, and now the catapult, the tower, and this farm are dead. My infantry of 90 spearmen are on their way to try and salvage what's left, but we have lost a couple of buildings and there'll be dead people inside my city. That's not the best news, but on the bright side I am rebuilding over here too, and there's an enemy attack on its way. The enemy forces are definitely getting a lot larger. This attack's been hitting me now for a couple of minutes, and the enemy is still all the way back on the other side. And the longer it takes them to bugger off, the more Magisters of Necromancy get on the field. And because I do keep losing troops, because I like infantry on the front line, my own soldiers are trying to stab me in the face occasionally. One good thing I will say is the ballista on the back row are wiping out the Masters of Necromancy, which allows my absolutely huge trebuchet force to wipe out their catapults. It's still not fully effective because, again, everything targets the Necromancers, but we are killing them a lot more than they are killing us. Spearmen still die, but that's a risk I personally am willing to take. The enemy attack started on day 47, by the way. It's day 49 in a few seconds, and their forces are still here as their main force. Now, despite the steadily increasing losses, we are still destroying the enemy. Another large-scale enemy attack is ongoing. It's been going on for about a day or so. They've only just arrived. But as you can see from this bit here and this marker here, there's going to be about 2 or 3 days worth of enemies pouring in. I'm also building the military district. There'll be 12 barracks around an obelisk, which allows me to drop meteors upon the enemy. Like this. Gone. The housing district is expanding, but there's a market in the middle, and the great farmland is pushing outwards. The Magisters are so hard to kill. It can take entire seconds of 8 ballista, catapults, and crossbowmen to bring them down. Like, look at them. They're just absorbing the damage, and the longer they stay alive, the more the enemy gets through. So we need more firepower. The spearmen are moving in. Remember, every soldier who falls, I will honour them in my heart, and then forget about them and recruit their children. On the bright side, the Machino fleshes are actually really easy to kill with just 2 or 3 strikes. Unfortunately, my spearmen die in their hundreds just getting the enemy's attention, but luckily the walls aren't being destroyed. I say it's easy, but it has been about 3 days give or take, and we're still fighting the same way, so the enemies are numerous. And like I say, eventually the waves must be so constant, it must be an unending tide of death. Food issues are quite seriously a thing. I'm using about 800 a day, and you see this number of 1170? This time 3 days ago, it was at 1500. I hit only 55 food the previous round when it started, so we are losing more and more and more food. So I have more and more berry pickers' houses across the area, but we are losing food. Look at that, 12 barracks making soldiers. We've got a bit more food because I just straight up bought food because I can do that. But making so much iron, I'm just going to buy food until I get it sorted out. But we have so many troops pouring out. We even have a cavalry involving archers, infantry, on horseback and actual knights as well. Enemy attacks are rolling in, 2 over here, 1 over here. I'm kind of ignoring them because I have an army of cavalry here, an army of infantry here, and a massive spearmen here. I'm also slowly getting more siege weapons for the walls. I've moved the tavern to here. I've expanded the network of neighbourhoods. I've started building 2 stables over here on a wall to get 2 more stables. And over here, I'm expanding the farmland. Now, right now it's under attack because I'm a muppet, so I'm sending in a squad of knights. I'm making a lot of knights, but they need money. Now, outside of that, we are, oh my god, holding the line, and a lot of spearmen are about to die. We're sending in the infantry. Outside of that, I also have this spell here. I've upgraded it a few times. It summons, for 2 whole crystals, 30 knights, which last for about a minute or so. So they'll be here, killing a few things, distracting the enemy, and stabbing people. And they can't be revived, and of course I don't get that many crystals. To get crystals, they have to destroy buildings, or occasionally drop from the siege weapons. So that's my current thing. Kill the siege engines, and slowly but surely wipe out everything else. But spearmen die, and then get back up again, which is a bigger problem than it used to be with this many dead spearmen. Up north, my mounted knights are extremely powerful, but of course, we also have the issue that when they die, they're really powerful fighting against me. Like, look at the damage they're doing to each other. So every single gate now has healers on it, so we can retreat there if we take too much damage. Despite the sheer numbers and the fact we're losing a couple of pieces of wall, we have survived quite easily. We do need a lot more spearmen because I'm down to 30 out of 170, but we hold the line and they did their job. So there it is, another wave survived. The next attack, by the way, is on day 69. Nice. So an interesting thing I just found out is enemy cavalry, which anything spawns in this corner, will go through this zone over here. So I can't just let them go this way. I now need a defensive section for here. So as the city grows, this area becomes more dangerous. Luckily, I have huge amounts of knights pushing in, but the healers are really far back, as you can see. The knights seem more powerful than the horses, but there seems to be a lot more horses because another wave... Oh, and there's undead hulks. So we're going to have to destroy this and pull back. The enemy should hopefully go that way. On the bright side, the enemy is still pathing up that way, even though they're being hit by catapults. So as long as I stay down here, the enemy won't attack me. So I just don't need to build here, and I'll be fine. Because honestly, looking at the knights, they are taking out the hulks quite well. In fact, I think the horses are doing more damage than the hulks were. The hulks' main thing is splash damage, and of course knocking troops over. They don't get that with my guys, because they are knights and elite. All in all, another wave mostly wiped out, even if we did use a large chunk of our knights. I'd say about 50 of them have died so far, which is a lot of knights. A large chunk of our cavalry has fallen as well, which is mostly the mounted horsemen as opposed to the actual knights. But either way, we've lost a lot of troops, and that hurts. And with that, the loss of all of these knights and this force over here, we've survived to night 70. I've begun massive expansion of the area. We now have this area here being turned into housing. It's being done in 3x3 lines because I just want it to be different to this section. But this section will be replicated in other areas too. The city will grow and expand outwards from this central defensive area. This will be turned into a glorious keep. Due to me having more stone than iron, and apparently axemen requiring stone, we now have a 300-man army being set up. We have spearmen, we have axemen, we have crossbowmen, and then we have healers. This will be the front line against everything. I have officially decided to build the centre of our city just here. As you can see, there will be glorious fountains and lots of housing. Unfortunately, that means it's outside of the walls, and that's why my entire army is marching here. You can probably see that we have made a mistake. Yes, it's an us thing. So my troops are moving forward. My cavalry's being prepared over here. And we have this area over here being heavily fortified with infantry. And the beginning of the wave has already arrived. Luckily I have spearmen. Luckily I have catapults. And luckily I have ballistae. Most of the enemy isn't that strong. We're going to have a few issues with catapults, because we always do. But I have more siege weapons than they do. So that should solve a lot of issues. Now, if it doesn't, that's another problem. But we are holding slowly but surely, and the axe warriors, all well trained, are being sent in. Now, the problem we're having is it's obviously day 86. I have huge amounts of troops on the way. Let's send in the foot knights. Let's send in the hammer guys. See these markers here and all the way over here? If I drop a squad of soldiers just here, we'll probably see thousands of enemies. Now this marker over here is going round, as you can see, and being picked off by the troops over here. But it does mean we are fighting quite literal thousands. Look at them all. The knights are being sent in. The hammer guys are being sent in. Everything is problematic. We're actually going to pull back the ballista and the catapults because they are taking too much damage. But we have lost some ballista and we have lost some infantry. Now on the other end of the spectrum, we are destroying them quite easily. There's still a lot of ballistas, there's still a lot of trebuchets, and there's still a lot of infantry. Now of course that's not everything. I was actually trying out something here to make a layered tower, thinks it just looks cool. But the enemy, they'll be destroyed, it will lose a few, but we'll still hold. Now this massive insanity is what we'll be expecting from now on. Now I do have cavalry, which is good. I have siege weapons, which are great. And I have walls, which are not yet finished. But you see these numbers? This is the future. It's a horrifying future, but it's the future nonetheless. Now one thing I can do is this. I do this, my troops now have exploding arrows. And now to do area of effect. You see that? Suddenly things are dying faster. But yeah, there's a few of them. Way too many of them. And the centre of the city is looking really nice. See that? If you ignore the death of all the soldiers over here, it's looking great. Luckily, this wave seems to be slowing down. There's very few siege engines currently in this pile of thousands. So my archers are picking them off over here, my infantry's holding them here, and the towers are finally going up. because there's dead bodies around, I'm going to build a few temporarily permanent hospitals. We'll need those to clear the bodies and stop infection. Last thing we want is an infection to spread and kill everyone off inside our city. Expensive news. Because I've had to expand the city, which now looks a little bit different, I've had to expand the farmland. And because of that, I've had to push forward my army. As you can see, they're now rushing towards here to a very hastily constructed wall. The enemy is coming from the north against these hundreds of soldiers, and to the east against every single soldier I have. Well, the enemy's already here. We have 2 and a bit towers up and running. We're having lots of attacks on this bit here, 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 and here. So that's 4 waves coming in over here. So there's a few enemies visible. This is the most open of my entire city, this area here. So the enemy is returning 5 catapults. Oh god, the axe warriors are outside the lines. Enemy numbers are quite significant. We might actually lose all of our knights and hammer guys. Our cavalry is holding the line for now. We have huge amounts of catapults dealing with this Magister of Necromancy situation. We are somewhat holding, and the towers are somewhat going up. Back on this side, we've still got the dregs moving in. It looks like they're caught on something, so we'll wipe out as many as we can. But this side, where the true, oh my god, war is happening, I've had to send the cavalry forward. They need to hold the line. Currently, we're having major issues over here. This area here, the walls are completely gone, and what's left of the knights are now officially dead. In fact, some of them have turned around and attacked our walls themselves. So we are dealing with that. I'm about to beam all these catapults because they are in the way. And now, suddenly, the enemy has no siege engines. So we may have lost a lot of troops, but we have held the line. Back on the other side, the wall of spearmen holds. No matter how many spearmen die, we have more spearmen. And with the enemy forces mostly destroyed here, we rebuild the walls, and over here the enemy is getting nowhere close. I've used a couple of beams, but our new building, this over here, the alchemical transgressor, which can only be built on a rift, which is here, will turn 4 iron every 40 seconds into 1 crystal. So I'm slowly building soul crystals to use my deadly powers of deadliness. Just like this. See that? More beams, more crystals, more random infantry spawning out of nowhere. Speaking of crystals and sudden troops, wave 111 is on its way. My army on the right is, not exactly big. Most of them are dead. We have contributed extra barrel mines. We're now using high explosives to deal with the undead. And up into the north we have the Horde. It's lots of cavalry, so I'm pulling in my army. I mean, it's not a big army, but I'm pulling it in regardless. Now, horses are, of course, fast. Oh, cool, here come the Hulks too. And hard to kill. The knights can deal with them, but we don't have enough knights, so we're going to start getting some more money and pumping out infantry again. This side is easily done, like this. And there we go. Most of them are now dead. So this wall will lose a few pieces, but it's easily held. I'm changing my mind about easily held. Hundreds of Hulks are just pouring in over here on the right side wall. Look at this. Which means this side with the 2 whole squads is going to have more issues. So we've dropped some infantry to slow them down. Yeah, I'm just straight up beaming this. So this area here is being solved. It won't solve all of our issues, but a couple of beams using some of our crystals, we should have had about 60, solved a lot of problems. And there we go, this side is now saved. Yeah, we've definitely held really well. Although there's another question I have. The meteor, how much health do these guys have? 230, so this meteor would instantly kill them all for 10. And also my infantry too, that was dumb of me. But either way, we can now use meteors. We do need more soul crystals, so we're going to send out the cavalry to go have a look at the locals. I also want you to know, while these guys are dying, we've used up a lot of crystals, it's actually cheaper for me to throw away the lives of my infantry than it is to use crystals. My soldiers, I'd say about 30 of them are worth every single crystal we use. Outside of that, lives are still the cheapest thing I can throw at any situation. So I'm expanding the city to get more cheap lives. It will require more food, but I think, damn it, I think I've got the food situation sorted out too. Another thing we have done, we don't really have much in the way of stables or siege engine areas, so I started to build it up over here. This will be an area for all of our cavalry to meet up, just next to the barracks. I'm not sure where the siege engines will go. Maybe we'll destroy this and put the siege engines here. With that all being said, the central area of the housing is actually looking really good. We have a lot of housing, we have breweries, we have lots of fountains. People would be very happy to live there. I think that'd look nice.
The city is under attack.
Wait, what?
Our people are under attack.
Oh, cool. There's undead in my base? Wait, is this a rebellion or undead? What the... Walking corpses. Has there been a plague inside my city and I didn't notice? The cavalry keeps pushing out, large numbers of knights now exist, and the horsemen, who have 2 extra swords strapped to their backs for some reason, are always leading the charge. Their lives are quite short. Tell you what, the cavalry force is decimating the enemy. We are retaking all of our land. We've gone from maybe a third of the map to owning and visibility on over half of the map. We are pushing outwards, and more horsemen and knights are moving forward. Oh my god, enemy forces are massive and prepared. I don't even know where this one attacked. This one here might hit the side of this. I may need to use my cavalry to deal with that. The new waves are arriving, the cavalry is prepared to sacrifice their lives, and the infantry are ready. I am sending out masses of archers right now. They're not going to make it, but we're reinforcing this lineup over here. In an exploration situation, the cavalry has been sent forwards. They will hit the dark tide. They are moving across, so they're not hitting here. Maybe they're going to go round and hit here because the enemy pushes this side. Maybe this is the prime target. In fact, because we now know they're going a different direction, we're going to pull the cavalry back and see where the enemy actually hits. Down over here, my infantry have moved from these walls to these walls. They will hit the enemy and they will hold the line hard. We also have down here 145 axe warriors. They're cheap and they will die if need be. Oh, I was right. An undead horseman from a previous attack is now charging here. So the enemy is going all the way round and hitting here, which is where some of my heavy defensive layers are. And over on this side, there's also a choke point happening because the enemy is going round here. So they're also not going to do well at it. We are killing at least 2 waves with a minimal amount of effort. Why are you two doing that? Our big problem will be these 2 markers here, which I think both will be hitting this wall. Hopefully this one hits this wall, in which case there'll be 2 massive groups hitting 1 tiny choke point. It does look like 2 entire waves are hitting this wall over here on the left in the west, so now it's to move my cavalry to go deal with it, because that might be a problem. I'll be honest, with the enemy only pushing through this gap here, I don't even think we need to fortify this area. We'd have extra archers on it just in case, but now we have extra archers to put on different walls. Over on this side, my spearmen have yet to really engage because the enemy is being annihilated. We are now doing a 2-tower system for my defences. I'm thinking the first wall should be ballista and the one behind it should be massive trebuchets. And because it's in a block, we can still have our troops walk around and escape if the towers go down. This wall, like I said, is barely being touched. A couple of catapults have hit it, but that's fine. This wall over here, they're not even getting close, so we still have more spaces for siege weapons. It looks like they might be needed, but otherwise this area is sealed too. Because apparently they are hitting my city fountain with catapults, which is a problem. And they're hitting this massive guard tower as well, which is also a problem. So there'll be a few more. Look at that. Vandals. The east side is basically done. The enemy is almost out of troops and they've done a little bit of scratching work. The northeast is basically done. This area completely sealed them off. And the west hand side, I have deployed a few troops and I'm about to deal with that because that is way too many siege units. So if you get rid of all the siege units, we're doing well. And the cavalry has made sure that the enemy stays deader. We've just pushed them through. The back tail of this area is gone. A few more horsemen will die. And this area over here is basically clear. We just have the dregs of society reaching the walls. In an attempt to make sure I can see more of the map, I'm clearing more of the map. What we're going to do is actually have builder huts push outwards and start building huge amounts of watchtowers. Watchtowers can see nearly everything. So we need a couple of those out there to kind of see what the enemy's up to. Extremely far up in the north, I finally found another stone ore field. And then next to it, a stone ore field. So this area here would be on massive amounts of stone. We just need to hold it and defend it, which should be easy to do because the enemy seems to ignore this area. Wave 130 has happened, and as you can see, I've used a few infantry to have a look. It's all moving towards this wall here, so it should be easily killed, and these 2 are moving towards this wall here with all the spearmen. So both these waves should be easily killed. They're wiping out my secret builder base! So that's not a good place for it, we've just learnt. But again, despite the loss of a builder base and 2 people, this is an easy wave to clear, because they're all rushing towards this. And this area here is heavily fortified against this massive style assault. Despite how many magisters of necromancy there are, I was correct. This force is still being quite heavily devastated before they get close to the walls. I could probably do with a few more trebuchets over here to really make sure, but the enemy is still dying in significantly large numbers. Over here there's more problems, so I've wasted a few more supplies than I'd like, just to even the numbers out. There are way too many catapults. I'm having to use the beam continuously to wipe out the catapults. So I've built a few towers over here, and we'll add some long-range firepower on this side too. Stop freezing. Also, for those keeping updates, the only building I've lost so far is this bloody fountain. They keep hitting this fountain, then they keep hitting these two guard towers. So I keep losing guard towers after I lose fountains. And I'll be honest, we definitely need to send out the troops because the enemy are still pouring in. Now this area, easily killing them. This area, the infantry are now officially... Why is the city under attack? They're hitting my houses now? Sods. With the extra ballista over here and more trebuchets on the way, this side is... There's no danger of this ever falling. They just can't get the numbers into this area. And the more trebuchets I have, the more the enemy catapults and necromancers die. This side, however, is more of a problem because, again, there's a few more troops and open area. And they keep attacking my towers. But all in all, despite the loss of a few spearmen and a few dead peasants who are just living outside their houses, we've held this wave mostly successfully. This area here is a few left. This area here is slowly flowing in. And this area here, despite the huge numbers, I don't know where they went. In a bigger attempt to keep my troops alive inside this kill zone, I put a load of healers upon the walls. Yes, you can put troops on the walls. I haven't done it because it's stupid, but now we have healers there. So my spearmen can keep fighting even longer. Day 141 and a massive attack is happening on 5 separate sides. Now these two will of course hit this bit here, which I don't care about. These two are going to ram into my hundreds of spearmen. There's now barrel mines and spikes. We'll see what they do. And this side is getting huge amounts more axe warriors to the front line. We'll meet them on the field and see what happens. Over in the north, the cavalry is moving to reinforce this section, just in case. You never quite know. Because I'd like to push the wall up to here to start getting unlimited stone and expand the city behind it. If the city could take this area, that would be great. And this area over here will be the farmland, which means this wall also has to be expanded out to here. The enemy have now hit the wall. They're being shot by it a lot, but the axemen will engage. They will probably die in a large number. In fact, to encourage them, I'm going to put down 4 summons. This is 120 infantry. Yes, that's a lot of soldiers suddenly on the side. There we go. The northern wall, as expected, is decimating the enemy. I mean, look at that. The numbers are going down really easily. This side is way too open, and the enemy is fighting us in a realistic way. So let's stop that. Thank you. So yes, we are doing well, and the explosions have already been breached. The axemen are already mostly gone. Look at this. The enemy has just straight up wiped this area. There are way too many necromancers on the field. There's still actual axe warriors coming from the keep to rush headlong into death. What is this, Game of Thrones final series sieges? In the north, some of the walls are going down. I had to use a single beam to wipe out a lot of catapults. I might use a second one just to make sure. But mostly this is an easy kill zone. And in the other northern side, the spearmen move forwards. The spearmen will engage and hopefully they will not die. And if they do die, there's more spearmen. Over on this wall, they've reached us quite immensely. The spearmen are gone. Oh my god, the spearmen are gone. Yeah, this is an issue, isn't it? So beam here. Let's kill a few of them. There we are. Let's just solve a few more problems. But yeah, my troops are mostly gone, which is a problem. There was a couple of hundred soldiers out there. They're not there anymore. Up here, nothing's surviving. And over here, it's time, maybe, oh my god, to send in the cavalry. It's definitely time to expand the city. We do need more soldiers. This wall over here has taken significant damage. This wall has taken a little bit of damage. And this wall here is a war zone of many dead spearmen. To help the north, the horse archers are sent in because they do have the exploding arrow ability. There we are. Just burn through them. Burn, baby, burn. This will clear a huge chunk out. This area here still has catapults on the way, which is a problem. And the spearmen are still holding from the first line. More spearmen will be used to hold this line. Although, some spearmen actually survived. Look at that, and all the knights did. Sending in the horse archers has actually helped out immensely. This entire section has been neutered. They are now gone. This side has a lot of stuff going on, but the catapults and the spearmen are holding the line. Yeah, despite the sheer numbers, we have fully cleared. This area's gone. This area here has a few left. Look, there's even spearmen on the front line. There's still 100 spearmen in the first wave. We still have 400 more spearmen waiting to take their places. This was them getting nowhere close and killing a fountain, which is annoying. In a colossally stupid move, remember when I said I was expanding the city? I've decided to expand the city. So a wall's going up, and there's a few hundred spearmen guarding it. Siege weapons, cavalry, and everything is pushing upwards to get this wall running. Whether it's going to work is going to be found out soon, I imagine. I've also just realised I was going to build this wall there to keep the stone in. So this wall here, even though it's fully fortified and being prepared, is in the wrong place. And wherever I can in front of any position, there's going to be farmland. What that means is there's always going to be fields in front of my positions. That will be good to get more food, and also I don't really care if we lose the farms, we can easily rebuild them. You may have noticed I've pushed the wall forwards. Here's the old wall, I've destroyed the towers. Here's my siege weaponry, here's my infantry force. They're currently standing out front. The enemy is sending 2 large-scale attacks to this wall here. I think this one hits this wall. They're sending 1 large-scale attack to this wall here. This large-scale attack to this wall here. And I think this one over here should path to the front here. But honestly, it's hitting here, so it could go either way. In the south, I have 125 knights. Up here, 786 spearmen, some random archers, and some healers backed up by 6 ballistae. A quick experiment shows me that the enemy is breaking into 2. A lot of the troops are going round to here. And there's a group going into this. And I don't know where they go after that. I'm thinking they go down, and then we'll have to see where. But my sacrificial Dark Knights have proven that the enemy is very bunched up. So it's going to do this and take out a few hundred of them. But yeah, there's a horde brewing. Don't know where they're going. The cavalry is prepared for the assault over here. Here's one of those veins giving me the crystals I told you about. Down in the southern area, it looks like this force has split, but both sides are still going to here. Are they going here? They are going here. So it looks like they're going to go this way. So we actually are going to need some defences holding this bit here with a couple of sets of archers and maybe some trebuchets right behind them. It's a problem, isn't it? So we're fortifying, we're defending, and we're holding. The enemy is already here, pushing onto this bit of the wall here, and they've hit the spearman horde. Remember, we don't really want catapults. Catapults kill infantry. Yeah, over here there is a minor problem. We're going to go drop a meteor here and here. The enemy is straight up pathing this way. So we are going to use some of my stored up crystals to drop a couple of hundred Dark Knights. Only 2 per time, so there we go. Have about 400 Knights. Down south, the Knights, 125 of them will take many hits. A few of them will die, but a lot of them will not. And that will allow us to get some more healers on the walls, because we need to, and take the tanking shots. Over here, the spearmen are steadily taking a few hits, and send in the horde. Now the problem with the horde is there's a few too many of them, so I have to send them in piecemeal, just like that. The cavalry is also going in. We're sending in all the troops. They will destroy as much as we can, clear as much as we can. We may lose a few cavs, we may lose a few infantry, but we are going to start doing damage to their very own lives. There we are, look at that. And the spearman horde is devastating them. We are losing troops at last, but that is fair and expected. As long as the infantry push in, and the amount of infantry we can push in is insane, we're good. Although this bunching up is not. And if in doubt, send some Dark Knights. There we are. So we're holding nicely. Drop a meteor here. Holding very nicely. The enemy's mostly dead. The Knights are mostly holding. He has a few injuries, but whatever. This area here is still a minor problem, but it looks like we've solved that as well. And we have huge amounts more space for an expansion if you want to see it. This side, as always, is dead. A few pieces of wall damage. This side, as always, is doing well. The Knights are insane with healers on the walls. This area is being fortified as we speak. And this side has so many infantry pushing forwards. Oh, this side is taking a few too many hits. Let's destroy some of their siege engines. Because I just noticed we have lost chunks of walled area. So our biggest issue is still we can't kill the siege engines fast enough because the enemy targets the magisters. Our cavalry have decimated this area with only a few minor losses, which we can of course replace. And our infantry over here have absolutely taken the field and caused this enemy to be hit by a meteor. We've spent about 100 crystals, we've survived 150 days, and the enemy have been sent back to the graves from whence they belong. Yeah, they definitely aren't surviving here. But with that, we call this one over. If you do really want to see more, please, of course, tell me. We have thousands of infantry, we have massive amounts of castle to build, and our cavalry is pushing and destroying. We will hold the line no matter how many millions of corpses push the walls. But you do have to say if you want to see more. Otherwise, 150 days, one off. I have been the fallen shogun. The walls have held. The enemy has disappeared. Be awesome. Be epic. Be amazing. And I'll be murdering all of these with a beam of doom. Till next time, goodbye.